this dream on November 14th, 2021. Okay, so in this dream, I was standing outside waiting to be picked up. Like I was getting ready to be picked up for a date. I was standing outside. It was evening time. This is interesting, and I don't know if it means anything, but he was tall, he was a white man, and he was kind. So I knew those details about him. I felt like he and I were a couple, and I had to let him and I out of the gate. So when he came to pick me up, we turned around and there was a gate. It was like a wrought iron gate, and there was a digital keypad, and he was doing the gentleman thing of trying to punch the code in to open the gate for us. And he tried it 3 times and it wouldn't unlock. So I reach over and I knew I was entering the exact same code he had, and it opened the first time, and we stepped through the gate simultaneously, like at the same time. We get to the other side of the gate. And when we walked through the gate, I told him, you should remember the code since you're going to be staying more. When we started walking, we were on our way to a nail shop. And I recall during the dream thinking I was going to get a manicure, but then being surprised when someone started pulling my shoes off. And I was trying to say, I didn't ask for a pedicure. And then my dream ended.
Wow. This is such a good dream. There's so much figurative language in here that are keys to what God is wanting to say to you in your love life and in the area of relationships. So when he picked you up at your house?
Yes.
Is that where it was? And you have a wrought iron gate in front, or no?
No, not in real life. I have a wood fence, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So the idea of a wrought iron gate. So he picked you up and then you were going to leave. And that's where the gate was. Not him coming in. It was you guys leaving together.
Exactly. Which is interesting because in the natural, I would have thought that I would have been waiting on the outside of the gate, right? So then I would have just gotten into his car. But I had to have been on the inside of the gate. And when he came, he was then on the inside of the gate. And we had to walk through the gate together.
Wow, this is so good. This is about timing. It's about relationships. And it's also about the idea of going public. It's the idea of trusting someone enough to go out into the world and let the world know. And particularly in the era of like social media, which I believe is what the digital keypad represents. It represents the idea, if you've ever been burned before where you're dating somebody and you're like, oh, this is it. And then you announce on Facebook and now it's legit and it's real. And then a month or two later you break up, and nobody usually announces their breakup. They just suddenly change their relationship status. And then people are like, are you guys not together? Because you were just engaged like 2 months ago, and now Junior's not on your Facebook page anymore. And, and that's kind of how we find out about relationships in this world. But I felt like part of it was, first of all, him coming to you, is the idea of him pursuing you. I feel like the things that you said about him, he was tall and kind and white. Kind of white, or kind of tall, or tall, kind of white?
All of the above.
All of the above.
He was tall. He was tall. So what I wrote was tall, white, kind.
Tall, white, kind.
Yeah.
A TWK guy. All right, cool. That's like a whole new personal ad initial. TWK, tall, white, kind, right? I think it's fascinating. One of the things that I would say is a lot of times when God speaks through dreams, you can tell whether it's literal or whether it's not by some of the positional stuff in the dream. Like when I asked you, do you actually have a wrought iron gate with a keypad that you need to get out into, out of your house into the outside world? And you said no. So we know that that part is figurative. So what I believe is that the indicators of the person is also figurative. God is telling you white represents purity. It also represents clarity, in a sense of, you can have white paint, but it can be a little off. And it's like, that wall isn't clear. It doesn't look good. And then you can have white that's on and it's like, oh, it looks so beautiful because it's not tainted at all. So I feel like that's what the white represents. The kind is love is patient, love is kind. It's a wink at the 1 Corinthians 13, but in particular, a safe place to put your heart. That, this is a guy that's, kind to animals. He's kind to children. He loves older people. Like, he's just the kind of guy that your heart can feel safe with, that that you have somebody that will take care of you, take care of your heart, will prefer you over himself, isn't selfish, isn't bombastic, narcissistic, all of these things that we got to watch out for, right? But that you can be like, yes, I can just be around this guy. And you said he was tall. So tall represents, in a figurative way, it represents the idea of stature. It literally means somebody you can look up to. And so not only would he be pure and have clarity and know who he is and what he wants, he would have a kind heart and be somebody you could be safe with. He would literally be somebody you could be like, wow, I'm with this guy. Like somebody you can look up to, like, man, this is great. This is incredible. So he comes and he picks you up. So he's pursuing you. He literally comes to your doorstep, which is the idea of God bringing someone to you instead of, I think if we've been single a long time, guys, girls, they're like, man, do we have to go out and like ask people out? Do we need to wait? Are we in a season of waiting? Should we be pursuing? Do I need to be on Christian Mingle? What is God doing in my relational life? And we're trying to figure all that stuff out. So this is a guy that literally shows up on your doorstep. So it's the idea of God bringing somebody to you, him pursuing you. And then what's interesting is before you go out into the outside world, there's something that needs to be handled, and he doesn't have the code for that. And he tries 3 times and it doesn't work. And what happens is it's literally in your hands, because it's your hand that touches the keypad, the same code that he has, and now the gate opens. And so it's the idea of a season perhaps of hiddenness, where you're actually being in a situation where maybe you don't tell the world right away until you're ready. And I think it'll be even something that you can have a conversation with him and say, hey, I don't know if you believe in dreams or not, but I had this dream and I just feel like, maybe we just kind of give it a minute, let it grow. It's, a new relationship before first date, announce to the world, I met my husband. I know you, so I know you're not that kind of a person, but some people are that way. They get excited and then they, let everybody know. And then 2 weeks later, it's like, what happened? So I feel like there's a part of that is like literally a boundary, a hard boundary for you, that you need to have a hand in saying, you know what, let me handle this part. Let us tell the world when I'm ready. And then you do, and then you walk out. So what's really cool is once you guys are out of the gate, literally now the world knows. It's like the horse races, right? That's where the term out of the gate comes from. It's like everybody knows when the horse race starts because the gates fling open and man, they're off. And it's the idea of also the idea of running together. Not just having somebody that you can love and walk through life together with, but somebody that you can literally run with, but run when you're ready to run. So what's also fascinating is you're going to the nail shop. And I'm thinking, nail shop? What the heck kind of date is this? This guy is taking her to get her nails done. But then you were surprised that they took your shoes off and you're going to get a pedicure. And I'm like, I know what this is. So in Ephesians 6, when it talks about the armor of God, it says that the shoes are the readiness of the gospel of peace. So again, it's the idea of being ready to be in that relationship, getting your feet ready so you can run. And what's interesting is your heart needs to be ready, and you need to have a little bit of control over the boundaries before you kind of let the world know. But there's still a level of preparation for you guys to run once you're out of the gate. And that's why the first place that you go is the nail shop, so you can get your feet prepared to be able to really run long term, do the things you want to do in a committed relationship, have a family, and it can be incredible and amazing. So here's the thing. I believe God is letting you know a type of person that is going to be the person that's going to be in your life. So he didn't give you a name. He didn't give you it looks exactly like this, but he's giving you clues, and it's measure him against 1 Corinthians 13, love is patient, love is kind, but also measure him against the ability to be able to be somebody that you can look up to. And at the same time, feel clear. He looks you in the eye. You see the level of purity that he has. He's not tainted at all. And then also know that literally you have a hand in what happens on the keypad in deciding when we're going to release this information to the world. And then realize too that there still may be some readiness things that you need to do to be prepared to actually run. And it's okay. Don't feel like you have to have everything completely perfect in your life before, you know, sometimes we get that way too. It's like, oh, I met this amazing person, but I don't feel like I'm ready and blah, blah, blah. So you didn't have to be completely ready. He actually helps you get ready and takes you to that place to literally take the next step.
Wow, this is incredible. The first time I came on your program, I was blown away because the dream that was interpreted had to do with a new relationship. And I've been sitting with that for quite some time because I've been single, celibate and single for 10 years. And I've been so focused on just doing what God has asked me to do. And I have quite a few dreams. And so now to have 2 dreams interpreted in the area of love and get ready for a new relationship, yeah, it's a little overwhelming, John.
I love it. I love it. God is letting you know he sees your heart. He hasn't forgotten you. He knows exactly what you're looking for. And I feel like there's even things, obviously, you know, you have to share everything. But as I'm talking about, like, this is the kind of guy, a kind guy, somebody that can be looked up to, somebody that's pure. I feel like there's places in your heart that are like, yes, I need those specific things. They may even be answers to prayers that you've prayed. And a lot of times, I know for me, there's been relationships we've been in that train wrecked, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I need somebody that's this or this or this. That's not that, but it's even more than just not the last person. But it's like, no, I need somebody that can be looked up to, somebody that's ready and clear, and somebody that is kind and has a good heart.
Absolutely. And the last point I will add is that I have had someone prophesy that they not, oh, this guy is for me, not like that, but that whoever my husband is, that he was like a gentle giant. And that really resonated with me based on the prayers and like just my heart posture of the type of man I would like to be with, especially given that I'm now in my 40s. So it is something that really does speak to me. Yeah.
Wow. That's so amazing. I love that. Well, hey, by the way, send us your email address, because what we do is we clip these dreams, so it's just your dream, and we want to send this to you, especially today, because love dreams are usually so near and dear to our hearts. So you can send that to dreamlifedecoded@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to make sure that you get a copy of this clip so you can have it for yourself.
I really appreciate you. Thank you so much, John.
Thank you, Camille, for being on tonight. Have a good one.